Performance Training PST, Day 8. Meaning. Meaning means what things actually mean to us, and the reason why this is a very important topic for high performance training PST is depending on what things mean to us is going to make us react in a certain way. And what the heck does that mean? Is, as an example, from performance planning, we gave you several examples of what you could be doing with a mental routine and or a recovery plan. And why would we need to have a mental routine and or a recovery plan? In both cases, or we can take them individually, for a mental routine, you want to be focused on certain things going through your mind, saying things to yourself so you can perform at a high level to keep your focus in an area where you feel good. So those meanings to you get you ready to perform at a high level. A recovery plan, on the other hand, there are some things that actually went wrong, and you do not necessarily want to focus and have those thoughts going in your head of replaying and saying the things, what am I going to do now? Why did this happen? Over and over and over and over again. You want to basically change those meanings, and how you change those meanings is you start to focus on things that are going to get you to perform at a high level, whether you're seeing a stop sign go up and whether you're using your imagination, imagery, and your self-talk to get you refocused on the things that are ahead. Ultimately, everything comes down to, or a lot of things come down to, what things actually mean to you. That concept is so basic, I think oftentimes we overlook it, right? It can, sometimes things can become so easy to do that we don't even do them because we take them for granted. As a younger athlete, I took a lot of things for granted, and I didn't really recognize them. I didn't really become aware of them until I got older. As an example, man, when I was a younger athlete, all I did was care about becoming a state champion and being the best in the world. My mind was focused on that. What things meant to me was focus on training, and then that's it. Well, that was great during that time period because nothing got in the way of me achieving my goals. Someone could say something to me, it didn't matter. The sky could fall, it didn't matter. Anything could happen to me, and it didn't matter because what everything meant to me was achieve the goal, stick with the process, complete the task, work on things you need to work on, and that was it. That's all I focused on. As I got older, though, more complex things started to happen in my life. I went to college. There was me being away from home. There was the anxiety of not having many people be like me that were where I was from, being the same college that I was at. That's a lot to deal with. All of a sudden the course load becomes hard. All of a sudden the requirements of students and teachers are different. So there were a lot more distractions that I had to kind of focus on that I didn't have to in the past. In other words, things changed, but I didn't necessarily change. So that in that way, my meanings had to start to change. When my meanings started to change, it was very similar to when I was in high school, but it took a lot of work on my part to recognize that, okay, I've got to change my meanings here. And this is what I mean by that. If, as an example, you think, and I'm going to just give you 3 examples here, and one of them is going to be the sky is falling. And the sky is falling means a metaphor for everything actually goes wrong. If you believe that everything is actually going to go wrong and it's your fault, you'll continue to believe that. You'll stay focused on that, and you'll wonder why, and you can kind of spiral in a direction that it, could be less productive for you. Another example is, and I use this example a lot with wrestling, you get headlocked and pinned, one match, and then it happens again, and then it happens again. If you ask yourself, what's the meaning of this? And the meaning is, I'm not a good wrestler. That may continue to affect your ability to wrestle at a high level, and you may get headlocked again, right? Because your meaning is, I am not a good wrestler because I got headlocked and I got pinned. So the next time you go out there, maybe you don't work on anything, and then it continues to happen. Another example could be, someone says something to you. Maybe it could be one of your friends, maybe it could be one of your peers, maybe it could be one of your coaches, and it is something that the meaning to you is less productive than it should be. Rather than turning it around, which is what we're going to talk about here quickly in the next several moments, you let it affect you in a negative way, and now you replay the person saying that to you over and over and over again, and it slowly but gradually erode your confidence. Slowly, but gradually erode your motivation. And over the course of a week, a month, a year, you're not aware that that meaning is affecting your ability to perform at a high level. So those are examples of how the meanings distracted the person from their goal. And what I'm going to say now is turning it around. So if we turn around the meanings, what things actually mean to us, we can perform at a high level. Someone says something to us that doesn't make any sense and it sounds less productive, and we quickly turn it around. The reason why that person said that is for me to challenge myself, so now that I can get what I need out of this specific whatever the heck you're doing. If it's in the weight room, if it's in the wrestling room, if it's in a match, the referee gives you a bad call in a match, and you turn around in your head and say, the reason why that referee gave me a bad call was so that I can challenge myself and so I can overcome this adversity. Every single thing that happens in your life, you can always turn it around. You can change the meaning so that you essentially, this is what I would do. I would try to make a game out of everything because I like to compete, because I like being athletic, because I like sports. If I made things a game, now it was not overwhelming. Now it did not create panic. Now it was not something that was going to put me in a negative state because I made a game out of it. In other words, I changed the meaning. I didn't necessarily focus on all of the bad things that could happen, but I would make a game out of it. If I got a bad call, okay, because that referee gave me a bad call, now I'm gonna go and I'm gonna do this. And these are the reason why I'm gonna do this is because when I get a bad call, I turn into a different person. I become a stronger person, and bad call after bad call after bad call, nothing can affect me. So these are the type of things that would be going off in my head so that I could stay focused on the task at hand. In other words, what things mean to us affect the way that we're going to act and react. So if everything that we deem important to us, we change the meaning of it so that we can become positive and productive, we can have very good performances from here until the rest of our life. However, we have to practice these things, right? We've got to practice scenarios where we change the meaning. The meaning may not necessarily be good, but we change the meaning so that it can be good for us. There are going to be all sorts of circumstances, and I'm specifically focusing on meaning because all of our psychological skills training is going to be affected when we change our meanings. The other way to say the same thing is if we focus on the meaning and we change it, we can get what we need out of every single circumstance. Sometimes we're unaware of things that happen. And by this, I mean, I think we talked about this on another one of the audio notes, just becoming aware. Just becoming aware of certain things. Now it's very difficult for you to become unaware of them. In this case, we notice that maybe because we're writing them down, we notice that when certain people say certain things to us, this affects the way the rest of our day, as an example, where that was in the past. Now in the past, anytime anyone says anything that we used to feel threatened by, or we used to feel it was uneasy, or we used to feel it made us less confident, or we used to feel like they're not our friend today, we used to feel like, oh, they're just a bad person. Now we turn that around and say, the reason why this person said that is to challenge my ability to do whatever it is. And so every single time something like that happens where, someone says something to you that you don't like, you quickly turn it around. And we've gone over several examples, and now I'm going to use some more wrestling specific or some more training scenarios where, let's say in a match, you get headlocked, and we've used that example before, but let's say you get ankle laced, or let's say you get a half run and you're on your back. Rather than, getting pinned or getting technical fall, you use that negative momentum to say, okay, what do I need to do now? So you're using self-talk in order to get your mind focused on the task at hand. Or you say, man, I love it when I'm pushed to the limit of my ability, because that's going to make me a much better person. It's going to make me a much better wrestler. Every time a person scores a point on me, it pushes me to open up and explode and explore the processes of all of my abilities. That's kind of like self-talk. Because I think a lot of times in your mind, the meaning to you could be this. I'm going to change the scenario just a little bit. The meaning could be this. I'm going to technical fall everybody, and then when I technical fall everybody, I'll feel good. But the challenge with that sort of line of thinking is, what happens if you don't technical fall people? everyone, right? What happens when they score a point on you? And this kind of goes back to performance planning and mental routines and recovery plans. If you have not planned on people scoring points on you, of course we want to shut everybody out, but realistically that may not happen. So the meaning could be every time anybody scores a point on us, we actually go to a different level, right? And we've thought about this, and we've planned this, and we know this is going to happen. So when it does happen, it excites us, right? We're motivated because somebody scored a point on us, because now it's going to turn me into a super dynamic wrestler. Now I'm going to have to dig even deeper and see if we can get this person to try to score on me again, and now I can execute this skill. So in essence, you've turned that wrestling match into a game. Well, isn't it a game? Aren't sports games? Shouldn't they be fun? I mean, I think and another way to say the same thing is you've got to figure out a way to make things fun for you. You've got to figure out a way to make things challenging for you by changing the meaning of whatever anything means. That can be a scenario where it could be something that's productive for you. I think earlier on we gave this example with the strength and conditioning in the weight room, and I'm going to use it again just to reinforce how we can change the meanings. Some people don't actually like the strength and conditioning, think it's a waste of time. They think it's, if I just get better at wrestling, I'll have, a better chance at wrestling. We don't need to spend any time strength and conditioning. All it's going to do is make my muscles bigger and yada yada. So they have all that negative self-talk going on. I'm suggesting that if they change their meaning, sprints can become a powerful source of strengthening the mind. Strength and conditioning with power cleans can become a powerful source of challenging yourself to get to the next level. In other words, every time anything comes up, I'm using, strength and conditioning as an example, we can make it a challenge. And when we are challenged, we actually grow and get better, right? So anytime anything comes up, whether it's strength and conditioning and you don't like to do that, make it a challenge. Make a game out of it. Make it something where you actually are focused on seeing how much you can push yourself to the fullest of your abilities. And of course, again, I suggest we should always write things down. Later on here, maybe in a couple of days, we're going to talk about a training log and a training journal where you're actually writing things down consistently so you can see the growth and development that you're having. But today, the focus is simply, understanding what the meanings are and how we can change the meanings to turn things around in our mind. Now, if we practice doing this on a consistent basis, we'll get better at it, just like anything else. If you practice anything on a consistent basis, you'll get better at it. In this last example, though, I'm asking you to actually write it down. So when you notice these things start to happen, today someone said this to me and I quickly turned it around in my mind. What can happen over time is if you do this, over the course of 3 to 6 to 9 to 12 months, you'll see all of these little abilities to grow and develop, and then those will become reinforcing, and that will change your meaning of a training log, for example, training journal. Well, I don't like to do those. Well, change the meaning of it. If I do a training log or a training journal, now I'm going to have the ability to grow, and I'm going to be able to see all of the growth and development, which is going to reinforce my confidence, enhance my motivation, and, get me on a pattern of positivity. Positive habit patterns are very powerful, and the flip side is negative habit patterns could be running and we're not even aware of them. So if we have a negative habit pattern going on right now, change the meaning of it. What does that negative habit pattern mean? Meaning we do these things and they continually put us in a less productive state. Change the meaning of it. When negative things happen in my mind, I can quickly change them into positive things, which is going to be a positive habit pattern, which ultimately is going to get me in the direction of high performance training. So we've just gone over changing meanings and what a meaning is and how that can affect your ability to perform at a high level. I suggest that this is the crux of psychology, psychiatry, and mental skills, actually. What things actually mean to us is going to, in a lot of ways affect how they make us react and act to things. On another way of saying the same things, if we change our meanings to mean that everything that happens to us is for a good reason, and because this happened, this is actually going to push me to challenge myself, negative or positive. If we change the meanings in that way, now instead of something that's negatively in the past, negatively would have affected us, so we get down on ourselves, now it quickly motivates us. Now it quickly starts to, enhance our confidence and motivation.